Welcome to the Young Pro Show. My name is David Perry, and we have a special guest here with you. Her name is Christina Miller, and she has seen a lot of success for her age up until this point in her life. She's already started her own business. She was the president of the Student Association at Algonquin College, and she's had a lot of other experience making her dreams happen in her life. And she's on the show with us today to share some tips, some knowledge, some insights for you so you could start taking action into your dreams. So before we start, Christina, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and what your story is up until this point in your life?
Okay. Firstly, I want to thank you guys, David, and Young Pros team for inviting me to be on the show. Well, where to begin? There's a lot to my story, but I guess just to start from the beginning. So I grew up in Richmond Hill, Ontario. If you guys don't know where that is, it's a little town outside of Toronto, which isn't so little anymore. I grew up with my mother and my brother. My father wasn't around when I was a little bit younger. However, adversity is something that you get over. As a kid, I can't say my childhood was super easy. I got bullied a lot, in school. High school and elementary school weren't exactly all that much fun for me. However, I never let that get me down, and, I tried to make the best of things. And one of the things that I did was try to create things. I loved baking, making art, creating stories because it was an outlet for me, and actually turned that into something that actually could be used for other people. I created my first business when I was 15. I created a company called Dynamite Cookies, and essentially what I did is I sold cookies, and I realized at that point people with diabetes couldn't have treats. So I remember being, why don't I try doing this? So I did, and I sold them at a farmer's market. And at that point, I didn't realize I was being an entrepreneur. I just realized that I was following my passion, creating some money and, doing something that I completely loved and, making an impact in my community. Eventually, though, as all entrepreneurs, those things end, and I went on to my next adventure, and a lot of things just kept on constantly changing. After I got out of high school and I kind of essentially escaped the prison of, people that hold you back, I was able to change and make a lot of changes in my life. And one of those things I did to change was travel. I decided to travel a lot of places. I went to Australia. I lived in Peru for a year, which completely changed my life. I started a company down there, and I was a tour guide, and that was great because I got to meet so many new people and really get to show the beauty of what Peru was and the culture down there, and meet a lot of different people and do a lot of different things. And when I came back, I realized that I wanted to do that all the time, and what I liked doing was creating something and sharing it with others, and I wanted to make that impact on the world. So I decided to attend college. Because I wanted to not stay in Toronto, I wanted to keep myself as far as distance as my past as I could. I moved to Ottawa, Ontario to actually live around my father, which was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life because I met so many incredible people since moving here. And the start of my journey at Algonquin was not a normal one. The first day I had orientation, I walked in there. I was a little bit older than some of the students, but I was so excited to start college. I knew that I was making a right choice by studying business. And I walked into that orientation with a big smile on my face watching that, and my mouth dropped after seeing what Algonquin College does, and especially the Students Association. And from that day forward, I decided I was going to be part of the Students Association. I applied in January and I got accepted, and I decided that I wanted to run for president, which was a big feat for me considering I was coming from this little small town where people doubted me every day to becoming the president of such a large organization and helping students change their lives. I really believe that college can be something so much more than what's in the classroom. What you experience in that little four walls can expand so much into meeting so many people and taking advantage of so many resources that can change your life. College is hard, life is going to be difficult, but the Algonquin College has so many resources, and I wanted students to be able to see that and be able to make the decisions for themselves and really see that they can change their future. So I joined the Students Association, and I successfully ran a campaign and became the president. During my year, I worked with an amazing board of directors, and we changed so many things. We brought in, with my vice president and the rest of the support of my team, We actually brought in the U-Pass. I remember my vice president at the time, Mackenzie Campbell, we spent so many hours, poring over this document so that way students could be able to have affordable transportation to the school. And in retrospect, right now, it doesn't really matter. I mean, students have that U-Pass and they use that every day. But that makes an impact every single day. That little thing makes an impact, and that's what we wanted to do, and it was a fantastic experience. But I didn't want to stop there. I mean, I had so many other goals in my dream and my journey, and so I decided I wanted to start my business. Back in Peru, when I was a tour guide, I had the idea that there's a difference between a tourist and a traveler. When I was in Australia, I had, an amazing experience. I love Australia, great place. But I didn't feel like it's part of me. I don't feel like it's connected to me. I didn't connect to people the same way as to when I went to Peru. And I thought, what if everyone could connect that way? What would our world be like if we could see everyone for their beauty, their culture, every little thing that makes them unique? If the world was like that when we traveled, what would it be like? And so I'm working on a company called Exploria that essentially connects people in a different, unique way by sharing each and everyone's story as a tour guide. That enables people to be able to share all their stories and make some money. As a student, that's an amazing thing, just to create your own story and, be able to share that with people. And it also creates, a different avenue for economies for just small countries such as Peru. Currently, right now, big tour companies own all that, and they're the ones making all the profit. And none of the small restaurants, none of the small people are making that money, and that's pretty sad. So with this, you could create your own economy. Tourism is such a large economy in the world, and you can share your culture and share the beauty of your country, and at the same time, make your community a better place. Ever since then, I've been doing a lot of different things. I've met David. I've met some amazing people that have definitely influenced me and changed my life and surrounded me with so much joy that I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone to make sure I get to those dreams. And I know that the people around me are always going to support me, which is an amazing feeling. So here I am today, on the Young Pro Show, working at the Better Software Company, trying to make a difference and slowly working on so many things at once. I barely know if I have any spare time, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And that's essentially my story.
Wow,
it's a lot.
Christina, that is an absolutely phenomenal story, and I can't wait till what you just told us is impacting people all around the world. And I know this is only the beginning. I mean, there's going to be, women and men that are going to watch this video when it's done and see what you've done and see all that you've accomplished and get inspired by everything that you've done. So I want to get into a little bit later on your venture currently, but I want to backtrack a little bit first, because ever since you were 15, you've been taking leaps of faith. You've been doing things and jumping towards opportunities and making those opportunities, from starting a cookie company all the way. And I think people also call you Cookie as your nickname. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that where it started?
Yeah, in high school, my friends, they used to always ask me to bring chocolate chip cookies to school, and they just started calling me Cookie. And sometimes it's been a blessing and a curse, because some people are like, "Why did you name Cookie?" And I go into my big backstory, which is cool. But then some people kind of sometimes think that,
Welcome, Cookie, to the Young Pro Show. Awesome, Christina. Well, one of the things that I wanted to touch on was the fact that you've been taking leaps of faith since a very young age with that cookie company, moving from your mom's house to your dad's place, moving with your father, helping him out, going to Algonquin College, getting your education, going to be president for the Student Association, all of these things that most people would look at and be absolutely terrified to jump towards if they were to take that leap. So what was it about you that made it kind of okay that you actually wanted to take these leaps of faith? Was there a change in mindset that you had? Were you always okay with taking these leaps of faith, or what was it really?
I would say that because of where I came from and because of how hard I knew life was, I knew that no matter what I did, it could never actually get any worse, which sounds kind of depressing, but it's not, because life is all about a series of risks and taking the leap of faith, because you want life to get better. You don't want life to stay the same. And I felt that, I could always do better, and I didn't want to stay the same. You control your fate. I know that everyone keeps on saying that, things happen for a reason, and I believe that they do. And I believe that taking that leap of faith is just going to make your life better. Either you're going to end up where you were before, or you're going to end up ahead. And honestly, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to take that risk to make your life better, and to say that you didn't just sit around and, let those circumstances control your life. You controlled what happened to you. And sometimes it's uncontrollable, the things that you can do, but you can always make those small little changes.
Wow, and from the sounds of it, all of those leaps of faith have led to absolutely amazing things. I mean, would you say that you wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all the leaps of faith that you made?
I definitely wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't if I had stayed where I was and succumbed to the challenges that I faced. I would definitely not be here. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I wonder, how did I do it? I really do. But then I remind myself, because I can't stop going, I have to go forward. And if I didn't, it wouldn't be fair to the people who suffer worse than me. I mean, how could I say that my life is so bad and then look at others and not try and change that?
Wow, that's amazing, Christina. It's interesting when you start to take all of these leaps of faith, these small victories, and what those small victories could turn into. And I think sometimes we forget that. We forget how important those small victories are, and that those steps, those consistent victories, those consistent leaps of faith are what is going to turn into the big victories and the big leaps of faith and the big successes. So, Christina, I want to touch a little bit on your time at Algonquin College as the Student Association president, because that's a big role. I mean, now you're representing all the students at Algonquin. Was there a lot of pressure for you at that point? And what did you like best? And what was hard for you while you were the president at the Student Association?
So I would say that the Students Association that year was definitely a defining moment in my life, a defining year. It was extremely difficult. There was a lot of pressure. As someone who, I can't say that I'm, pretty normal all the time. I do have my flaws. And to put on the spotlight and to have to face those in front of everyone is tough. But I think that it was definitely worth it, because I was representing students who I know struggled the same thing. I think my favorite thing about the Students Association was the fact that I knew that I had the power to help other students and help those people, and impact the lives of everyone, and be the voice that sometimes people don't want to be. Some people don't want to stand up against the status quo. Some people want to follow the rules and just accept things how they are. I don't want to do that. And I think the hardest thing of that year was my mental health. I mean, with all that stress, one of the challenges I faced in my entire life is depression, anxiety. And I think that during that year, challenging that and trying to overcome that while trying to help other people was really difficult. But at the same time, it was amazing, because I had so much support, and so many people were able to relate with me because of that. And I was able to show people that just because you're a leader and you will have issues, you will have mental health problems, but that doesn't mean you can't be a fantastic leader. That doesn't mean that you can't go and do your dreams, that these things are part of life and you can overcome them. So is a blessing and a curse, but I think that was probably the hardest thing. And living up to what the students want. I always wanted to make them proud. I really wanted to make a difference. And I think that was just, it was stressful, but it was totally worth it.
Wow. We forget sometimes, Christina, and I'm sure you've seen this, that we look at these leaders and these people that have accomplished a lot, and we forget that there was struggle throughout it, and there was hardships throughout it, and there was depression and anxiety throughout the process to get them to where they are. And I think it's absolutely amazing that you look at yourself as a voice for these people despite the struggle. You know that you yourself are going to get through it, and you know that you yourself can be an inspiration for the people that are going through exactly the same thing. And do you think that's one thing that's kept you going the entire time, is that you see yourself as that voice and that person who wants to lead by example and wants to be the light, that, not to sound cheesy, but the light for others to look at and be inspired by? Do you think that's something that has kept you going this entire time?
Sounds cheesy, but yes, I feel like, whenever I'm down and whenever I'm feeling those days where I feel like I just want to give up, I remind myself that if I gave up, how could I go to other people and tell them not to give up? How could I face someone who I know is facing such a hard time and say it's all going to be okay, if I can't face those challenges myself? And some days you can't face those challenges, but you have to think about the next day and be like, I will do it, and I will get over it. And if I didn't do that, then I really couldn't. I would have no right to try and help other people, and I really do want to help other people. So I have to overcome the challenges, and I think you're right, David. It's definitely me wanting to help those people, so I face those challenges and take it on for them, so that way they can see that other people can do it.
Wow. True hero, Christina. So where you're at now is that you're working at the Better Software company and you're building your company, Exploria. So tell us, maybe not a little bit more about that, but about your vision for where you're going. Do you see yourself taking Exploria full time? Do you see yourself doing other things? What is your vision and your dream for yourself starting to look like?
If I was to be honest, I would love to make Exploria a full-time thing. I would love to travel the world, recruit people, and tell people about how they can share their story, and just take my time and do that, meet amazing people, and really show the world what the world is truly about and share that beauty. I mean, I would love to do that, and I think that one day I will. One day, I don't believe that, I won't do that. I think one day I will travel the world and find different stories and share that with people and recruit people to just, share their story. But I think that eventually I will work on that. For now, I want to help the Better Software company with their dream. I think their dream to help small businesses is amazing. As a small business owner, I know how stressful it can be. So for now, I mean, there's always things that come in good time, and you have to trust your gut. Right. I think that as an entrepreneur, your gut is extremely good to tell you when you need to do things, and there's always good timing for everything. Timing is important.
Awesome. So correct me if I'm wrong, but with Exploria, I have the ability to actually become my own tour guide and tour people on the things that I love to do. Is that how it works?
Yes, is exactly how it works. Wow. So if you were to be like, you know what, I'm a chef and I like to actually tell people about all the great restaurants in Ottawa, you could create a tour based on your 5 top restaurants. Wow. People could pick them, and then you take them there and share your story of why these restaurants are awesome. Wow. Share your story of what food you like, and those people get to enjoy it with you, and they get to really experience what it's like to be in Ottawa. Wow. I mean, it's kind of like going out with new friends.
Wow, the ability to be my own boss and take people in the things that I love to do. So Is there a plan for when Exploria will be launched?
I'm planning on launching Exploria in this summer. So this summer, I plan on June being the starting months. I plan on having at least 5 tours, 5 different tour guides, especially definitely with food, biking, architect, which is pretty cool. So if anyone's interested, of course, I'm looking for people who are passionate about getting to know other people. You don't need to have any experience being a tour guide, which is the best thing.
Awesome. So we're going to put Christina's description in the contact info of this video. So if you are interested in being a tour guide or interested in taking part of the company, just message her and tell her why and tell her what you would want to do. So to wrap things up real quick, Christina, what tips would you give the viewers that are watching about how they could start leading the life of their dreams?
I would say the first thing is push your comfort zone. Don't stay where you are. You have to be uncomfortable to be changed. Take care of yourself. Mentally, you need to understand that some days you're going to have those bad days, and it's okay, and you just need to take care of yourself mentally and physically, whether that means rock climbing or lifting weights. It's up to you, but make sure you take your time for yourself. And the third thing is be kind to others. Okay. Remind yourself that everyone has those struggles, and meet as many people as you can and understand. Just be kind. That's the best thing I can tell anyone can do.
Okay, and Christina, who is one person that we need to bring onto the show in the next upcoming weeks?
So I think that one of the people that I've worked in through the past couple of years, her name is Vivian Kay. She was a director on the board of directors Students Association. She was also the one who brought my dream to life with Exploria. She's an amazing person. She's intelligent, enthusiastic, and just an all-around good person. And I think she definitely will make an impact. Even if she's not an entrepreneur, she definitely will make an impact with those around her.
Okay, guys, so we'll get Vivian on the show for you guys to see. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching another one of the Young Pros episodes. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, and like us on Facebook, and stay tuned for the next Young Pros episodes. Thank you so much.